Another beautiful big bream. That one's well over £5. You join me today on the lower Severn. Now the river's come up a lot since the last video I did, where I caught those couple of barbel for you on the middle reaches. The river's come up probably 8 foot since then. Now I'm fishing just upstream of a weir. The river forks into two. Down this side here we've got the lock cutting where the boats go, and across we've got the main flow going into the weir. I'm led to believe there's a lot of bream in this area. I'm hoping to catch some of those today. The river temperature's really high, and I think that could be about right to catch some of these big bream. I've spoke to a few people who've caught them in this area, so I'm going to approach this is with just a cage feeder and chop worm with caster. So I'll probably fish a big dendrobina and a dead red maggot on the hook. I'm going to introduce some fishmeal ground bait through the feeder and a few casters and maybe some micro pellets as well, but I won't start by putting micro pellets in. I'll introduce those if I feel I need a bit more attraction. So could also be other species here. There could be some barbel here. It's known for some very big barbel in this area, and there's always a possibility that they may turn up. But as I say, I've come down after the bream, so hopefully I'm going to get a few today. It's a nice day again, coming into the last 2 weeks of the fishing season now, so it's, yeah, we're just starting to get the good weather we always get this time of year that leaves us wanting more. When the season closes on March the 14th, we always want to carry on another few weeks, don't we? But it's just nice to be out. So let's see how I get on. Well, I've got a new device with me today for cutting my worms, so I'm going to whiz some up now. I've just put around about a big handful into there. I'm not going to use loads today, so I'm going to finely mince those through this machine. Perfect. I'm just going to take the blade out of the way. Just use the actual container to hold the worms in. Just put it in the corner of my ground bait bowl, and just put the lid and the blade away safe. Don't want to lose those, and you don't want to cut your hand on that dirty blade. The channel in this peg is a good 30 metres from the bank. There's around 20 metres of still water in front of me, which is quite deep. It's probably 10 or 11 foot deep. Then drops down another foot, and it's moving slightly on the crease, which is around about 30 to 35 metres from the bank. So what I've done is clipped the reel at 32 turns on that large Shimano 5,500. I'm going to start off with 28 gram. That's a 5 square Nisa feeder. It's quite a big feeder to start with, but I'm not going to be putting a barrage of casts in to start with. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to fish off 10-minute casts. I'm putting worm and casters in. I'm putting fishmeal ground bait in, which is high attractant. So I feel I don't need to bombard loads of bait into the peg. I have a feeling, looking at this swim, the fish are actually probably just in front of me. All I've got to do is activate them into feeding. And I'm not competing with other anglers. There's no one either side of me. So all I need to do today is be patient and accurate with my casting. And I'm sure these bream will show up at some point. I'm fishing a size 12 hook to no 20 diameter hook length, 2 foot to begin with, which is fairly short, but there's not a great flow out there, so I'm not going to need a long tail where the feed's been pushed a long way from the feeder. I think I'll catch on a 2 foot tail. That should be sufficient. So I've got my usual setup, a twizzle boom down to a quick change swivel, Caruso quick change swivel. I've just put my hook length on there. It's 2 foot from the feeder. Again, I've got the feeder just between 2 line stops. It's a straightforward setup. I use this for probably 90% of my river feeder fishing. I'm not casting long distances, but that does give me a nice standoff. keeps the hook length away from the feeder, so I'm not going to reel it, and the hook length's folded up around the feeder. So it's a really, really good bulletproof method. The main line today is 6 pound Maxima, which is around about 0.20, 0.22 diameter. It's thick and it's robust. It will deal with probably anything I'm likely up to today. So I'm starting off with a large dendrobina. Sits nice on the 12 hook. I'm going to start with a single red maggot. I've just got my dendrobina and red maggot. And in the feeder, I'm going to put 30 or 40 casters, a blob of chopworm. So I'm going to put plenty of loose offerings in that ground bait. But the ground bait itself is eye attractant. These fishmeal ground baits are extremely potent. See what's out there. So I've got that clipped up, 32 turns. I'm fishing straight in front of me to start with. There's not much flow. There's a little bit of compression on the tip, but not loads. If I went out into the main flow, which is beyond there at 50 metres, I'd probably need 4 or 5 ounces to hold the bottom. So I'm really guessing this is the holding spot for fish. And the river's got water on like it has today. I'd expect this to be a natural holding spot where fish want to be. This is my first visit to this stretch. I'm just near Worcester, which is the beginning really of the lower reaches. Severn there, you go down Worcester, then Upton, and then on to Tewkesbury. Then becomes tidal below Tewkesbury. The lower Severn doesn't seem to get fish much in the winter due to the rain we get. When we have a lot of rain, it often floods into the fields, the lower river, so a lot of the river becomes inaccessible. But where you can get at it, can be good fishing. Beautiful day. The temperatures are in double figures now in the daytime. Still going a little bit cooler in the evening. It's dropping to like just above freezing, but in the daytime now we're getting 12, 14 degrees, which is absolutely beautiful. Got a little nibble there, first cast. Got a little nibble on that worm, first cast. A little indication. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of fish out there today. Quite an interesting peg this. It's a big river here. A hell of a lot of water to go at. Got some like 80 metres wide here. As I say, it's absolutely raging through over there. Got 8 or 9 foot of floodwater coming through. Feels like a bream. There we are. Second cast. It looks like the information was right. Just second cast, I had an indication first cast, and just the second cast when I've had a fish. It's a beautiful big bream. My word, what a beautiful fish. Probably 3.5, 4 pound. Absolutely. What a start. This is my third cast. I've had indications on all 3 casts I've had so far. And just had that nice bream that you've seen. I think there are a few fish out there. A big liner then. Oh. There's a big liner, I think that was. I had to pick up, the rod was just going down, down, down. At the moment I'm fishing a cage feeder. Fish number 2. It's just a very subtle little drop back. These are nice fish, 3 or 4 pound. Really are beautiful bream, these. They're absolutely in immaculate condition. Just hooked. Gently lip hooked. Strong and wiry. Beautiful fish. So I'm glad I've caught that one, because that I was a bit worried that the first one, when I caught that one early, it may have spooked the shoal, but that's given me a bit of confidence. Catching another one means they're still out there. I'm expecting to catch more now. It's just a nice subtle drop back, that one. Bring lots and lots of casters in, and a little dab of chopped worm. So I think big bream love casters. What a beauty. Nice big bream, probably 4 pound. Another beautiful big bream. That one's well over £5. Probably the biggest one I've had today. Beautiful fish, he's in immaculate condition. Absolutely beautiful. Well, session's just drawing to a close. It's been a little bit harder than I expected. I've had 4 nice bream, I've had 5 bites, I've had a few liners and a few trembly little indications, sharp taps, which could have been eels. There's quite a few eels down this end of the river. Now I've alternated between a cage feeder and a solid feeder. Now occasionally I've wanted to try and make things happen in the peg. Where I've used a cage, cast it more frequently, obviously that expels the bait a lot quicker. So I've tried to make it happen with a cage. I've had 2 fish, but likewise I've also had 2 fish sitting on a solid feeder when I've left it in for like a 15-minute cast, and I've had 2 bites on that. So I've had to keep alternating to get those few bites, but it's been interesting. I've enjoyed it, and it's typical winter fishing really on the Severn. Can be quite hard at times. I was told this was a really good peg, and I still believe it is. It's a nice peg to fish, it's not too snaggy, and you don't really need too much weight to hold bottom. Even though the river's 8 foot up, I've only used a 60 gram and a 44 gram feeder. I started on 28-30 gram, but the river actually rose 6 inches while I've been here, and that extra flow, I've had to put more weight on the feeder as the day's gone on. But yeah, it's been a nice day. I've enjoyed it. I'll catch you on the next one.